Hello everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk, back again with another project for you, and this time it's a tall ribbon close box. It was inspired by one I saw on my team leader's blog, which is a ribbon closure, and what I wanted to do was make one that was big enough to hold a gift for someone, because it just the right size to fit a 200ml body wash in. So that's what it was designed for. But obviously there's lots of brands out there. You don't have to use this brand, but something of a similar size. It's absolutely perfect. And what I fancied doing was using up some paper that I've had since, oh gosh, November last year, possibly even earlier actually. No, it must have been earlier. It must have been April last year, and I just haven't got round to using. And that's the mosaic mood paper, which is lovely paper, and part of it is because it's so pretty, and it's got this kind of gloss finish on it, which you might be able to see. So as you can see, it is like tiles. So the all the different papers in here have a kind of a mosaic tile feel to them, or design. Lovely colours, but as you can see, lots of different designs, including these hummingbirds. There's some lovely butterflies and roses, and sort of floral effects on the back, and I just haven't really got around to using it very much, so I thought, right, now's the time to start to use it and chop it up and get some projects made with it. And I just thought this would be great to use. I've also used this stamp set here, perfectly framed, and I just loved these kind of, you know, sentiments in here. Sending hugs, the world is yours, some pretty little accents as well if you wanted to. But the great thing about these is, those of you who remember the autumn and winter catalogue will have seen these ornate frames which went with some of the Halloween paper, but these are carried over and they fit all of these, so you can make these beautiful pretty frames and different layers so easily. So I wanted to use both of those. As you can see, I've just, apart from bending that, I've popped those to one side. So let's get started. The box itself is pretty easy. I've used quite a large hole punch because that's what I happen to have to hand, but you can obviously use whichever size hole punch you have and just make it fit the ribbon really. The ribbon I've used is this, actually it's Rococo Rose, but I thought because of the shading in this paper, I've actually got, I thought it was actually not a bad match, because it's kind of got hints of gold and sort of terracotta sort of tones. So there we go. Right, what you need then, start off with, you need a piece of card, UK A4. I'm working in centimetres, but I will pop the inches onto my blog as well. And you need a piece that's 21 centimetres by 27.5 centimetres in length. And you're going to score on the long at, I work in a confined space, so it is a little bit difficult with my tripod and everything else sometimes. So I'm going to work, so first of all at 3.5, at 6, at 11, and then just use the extender arm. I'm coming out to 25. I suppose it would be easier if I tied my craft desk first, but hey, where's the fun in that? Okay, so then we're going to turn it portrait, and we're going to score on the short edge at 5, at 10, 15, and at 20. Yep. We'll get the trimmer out in a minute because we'll need to cut some panels, but let's crack on with the box making first. So the next thing you're going to need to do is hopefully use your bone folder. Yep, there we go. And reinforce these creases. And you're going to want to not do what I did, make a mistake, because I have actually got this one. I've got the seam at the front, and I usually try and, it's actually on that front edge, you usually try and pop it at the back. So before you do any cutting, you'll need to work out which is going to be the back. So this is going to be the back here, which means that our long overlapping panel is this first one next to the short edge. So I'm just going to cut all the way down, like so. So that starts my cutting. Now these panels are then going to be cut away all the way across. So you're just going to cut those, and they're reasonable sized pieces, so you can always keep those for future projects. All those little sentiments, those little layers, maybe a little flower that's punched. So you'll end up with a piece that looks like this. So I've got one long flap and 3 out. I'm going to trim away this bottom corner, which is off camera, sorry about that. And then I'm just going to cut straight up the centre of these score lines. And that's because to get the height of the box I wanted, rather than having a complete flap overlapping, I'm just going to have sort of those joining. So when we close it up, we'll have 2 that come down like this, and these 2 will just join in the middle. It will be plenty strong enough by the time we put some red tape on there, but it's obviously, normally I have a full flap on there. So we end up with a box that looks like this, and we need to put a couple of score lines in on these 2 panels here. And all you're going to do is take a ruler and your scoring tool, or in my case, take your pick, which obviously has that as one of the options. And you're not going to bash your light like I've just done. So it's this one and this one. So you're going to mark the centre of these at 2.5 centimetres. And you could do a pencil mark if you wanted to, if that was easier for you. And you're going to score diagonally just down to where these meet. So you want to do a nice strong score line. Now you might prefer to do that on your scoring tool, your scoreboard, if you want to, if you're confident about that. It's fine to do it, as Bert says, try and do it perhaps on a piercing mat if you haven't got a pack of grid paper. Okay, so now that we've done our basic box, I want to put the layers on. I'm not adding extra layers of card on these for contrast, although you could if you wanted to. And what I'm going to do is trim my panels, my pieces to 13.5 centimetres. And then I'm going to cut 4 pieces at 4.5 centimetres. And I loved this particular one. I think it's a really pretty pattern, say a real mosaic floor. So those are my 4 pieces for around the side of the box. And then I'm going to cut another strip that is 4.5 centimetres wide, and I'm just going to cut 2 small pieces off that, one of which is I can't remember the measurements, I didn't jot those down, I think it's 2 centimetres. So this is the piece for the top, yeah, one of which is 2 centimetres, which is my first one, and then the second piece is 3 centimetres, because you've got a piece, if I show you, a piece that comes on the top and a piece on the front there. Now if you wanted to, you could also add another piece for the other front panel. I didn't think it was necessary on this occasion, but I am going to put all my pieces of paper on before I start punching my holes. So let's get started. I just want to make sure that these are in the same orientation. You will need a corner rounder. Now use whatever corner rounder you happen to have. I've just got one that's a 1/2 inch corner rounder, and I'm going to corner round on my card, not very well, and I'm going to see if I can get that any better. Oh, I might just neaten that up. Oh, it's because of the score line. I didn't trim quite as firm. There we go. And I'm going to pop that on there. So corner rounders, again, if you haven't got one, you can always use a circle punch, or you can leave it square if you wanted to. Okay. So next we can pop on these 4 panels, and I'm just going to, it doesn't matter with this particular one, it doesn't matter if they line up or not particularly. I am just doing that because just in case. I don't know why. Right, so these have just got a narrow border around them. You possibly can't see it as well as you might, but you'll be able to see it when you do your own. You'll be able to see that, those panels. And you might prefer to use a wet glue for this stage if you're at all uncertain about layering up your panels. The beauty of the wet glue, obviously it gives you a little bit of wiggle room as well, and our Tombow is fantastic for that, and it just helps to you to line those up a little bit more. I'll move that ruler out of the way. Need that in a moment, but we're going to punch our holes. So that's our basic box. Now that we've put those on, we want to obviously create our box. So I'm just going to put some red tape down the one side here. Oh, actually, before I do that, or rather before I actually glue it, I'm just going to reinforce these creases here. So you can just see I'm just folding those diagonals that we created using our scoring, our scoring tool. There we go. So, oh, and while we're here, let's pop some red tape just on 2 of the tabs. So you're going to want to put one on the tab that's the same as the tall tab, and you're going to want to pop one on here as well. I have no idea how I'm doing on time. Let's hope I'm doing okay. Right. So I always fold it up like so. That just makes it easier for me to line it up. Fold the 2 flaps in, and keeping those nice and square with the sides. Fold the bottom in. Now, if you wanted to make sure, if you wanted, you could reinforce it using a square of card. So there's our basic box. And this is going to fold in like so. But what you want to do with these is make sure that they line up. So the easiest way to do that is to grab a pencil and a ruler, and I just, using my grid paper actually, but I just kind of went towards the bottom and came in 1.5 centimetres from both sides. Make a little dot. Come in with a hole punch, and most hole punches, all I'm going to do is pop that into my hole punch and just what we call eyeball. So have a look through the side and line it up with that dot. Like so. That creates 2 holes, which are there or thereabouts. Then make sure that's nice and firm in the right position, and draw 2 holes. And then do exactly the same again. So come in with your punch. You can literally see, you won't be able to see up here, but you can just sort of partly close it and then hole punch. There you go, 2 holes. So that's our basic box. We can now pop our product in and then grab a length of ribbon fact, I didn't do a very good job of lining those up at all, but there we go. So I've used probably about 12 inches of ribbon here. Hopefully nobody will notice it. I'll notice it, I always do. And I'm just popping that ribbon through from the inside. And then pop those through the top as well. And as you pinch that closed, you can pull your ribbon through. And because I've used fairly thick ribbon, that will just really hold it nicely. And then to finish it, what I've actually done is almost done like a tie. So I'm crossing over, wrapping it around, back up through the middle. Right. Okay. There we go. So back up through the middle. And then I'm just going to pop that down through the loop that we've made there. And I just thought it made a change from a bow. And it works quite well with this quite nice firm flat ribbon. There we go, just like so. And now I've left that a little bit long, so I'll just trim those away. So that's our box with our closure. So all we need to do now is create our labels. And to do that, I'm going to stamp in okay. Turn that over. So I've stamped in some mint macaron. I'm going to die cut these shapes from using my ornate dies. So this really ornate one here and this one here, and then I'm going to cut the layering one out of some terracotta tile and hope that that all works to create some nice layers. So in a moment you'll see, by the magic of waiting 30 seconds while I get myself organised, and hopefully these will work out. And with these, I use a magnetic plate. You don't need to. You can always use a bit of washi tape. I do find it helps tremendously. And as you get into your crafting more, I think you'll find it just takes it up to the next level, really. So I didn't use that terracotta tile in the end, but what I have got are 3 pieces here. And I'm just going to pop that one through. It hasn't quite cut, which sometimes happens with your dies. And if that's the case, then all you need to do is pop it back through your die cutting machine. It's probably because I rush and put more than one through at the time. Okay, so now that's cut out beautifully. Do a quick flick, and here we go for some layers. So, quick splitty split. Our layer goes perfectly onto here. My sending hugs goes perfectly on the top. You could add some dimension if you wanted. And all I'm going to do now is add that to the front of my box using a couple of dimensionals on the back of this. And there we have a pretty gift box, which would be a lovely gift for anybody, just to say sending hugs. Helps if you put it on straight, doesn't it? There you go. So those are our boxes. You can see the difference in the 2 different papers that we've used. I think they're great fun. I hope you've enjoyed them and you enjoy making them. Pop along to my blog, follow the links if you'd like to purchase anything. flutterbyheidi.co.uk or heidismith.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.